Pick a date from your past, any date. Let's say the third Tuesday of October 11 years ago. Do you remember what you were doing that day? What the weather was like? What you ate for dinner? You have no idea. Of course you don't. That day is gone, erased, like almost every other ordinary day of your life. You've forgotten more days than you can ever count. Now imagine someone who didn't. Imagine a person you could hand any date, let's say a random Wednesday from 20 years ago. And without pausing, they tell you what day of the month it was, what they wore, what they ate, what song was on the radio, and every tiny forgettable thing that happened that afternoon. Every day, going back decades, crystal clear. That person is in fact real. A small handful of people on Earth live exactly like this. They just can't forget. And as we're about to find out, that's not always the gift it sounds like. Let's talk about a woman named AJ. In 2006, a team of scientists published a study about her. AJ had contacted a memory researcher years earlier with a strange confession. She said her memory was ruining her life, not because it was bad, but because it was too good. She could remember in vivid detail basically every day of her life since she was a teenager. Of course, the scientists had to put her to the test. They threw dates at her at random, and she nailed them over and over. She told them what she did, what was happening in the world, what day of the week it landed on. She wasn't guessing, she was remembering. They'd never seen anything like it, so they gave it a name: hyperthymesia, a Greek word for excessive remembering. Today, researchers usually call it highly superior autobiographical memory, or HSAM. And here's how rare it is. Since that first study, thousands of people have come forward claiming they have it. But after testing, only a few dozen have ever been confirmed. We're talking about one of the rarest minds on the planet. So, what's it actually like to live inside a memory like that? For people with HSAM, the past isn't a fuzzy blur that fades the further back you go. It's more like a calendar that they can flip through at will. Say a day out loud, and that day simply appears, fully formed, with the emotions attached. One of the most famous people known to have it is an actress who described being able to relive almost any day of her life, like she's pressing play on a video. She could remember everything in vivid detail, from childhood birthdays to just a random Tuesday 20 years ago. The good days and the terrible ones, all stored on the same impossible resolution. But really pay attention to that last part. She remembered the terrible days too. Because here's the thing most people miss when they imagine perfect memory: it's not a highlight reel you can control. For many of these people, the memories come uninvited, triggered automatically by a date, a song, a smell, whether they want them to or not. But before we get into all of that, we have to clear up the biggest misunderstanding of all. When you hear remembers everything, your brain probably jumps to photographic memory. The person who glances at a textbook and can ace the exam. The spy who memorizes a document in one look. Yeah, that kind of photographic memory. Scientists have never been able to prove that exists at all. It's basically a movie myth. And HSAM is not that. People with hyperthymesia are usually completely average at the stuff we think of as good memory: studying for a test, memorizing a phone number, remembering a random list of words. On those, they often score totally normal, sometimes even below average. Their gift is weirdly specific. It's autobiographical. It's their own life, locked to dates and events. Ask one of them to memorize a deck of cards, and they might struggle just like you. Ask them what they did on their 12th birthday, and they will describe the entire afternoon. So they're not superhuman walking computers. They're actually something much stranger: people whose own life refuses to fade. And naturally, scientists wanted to know what makes these people different, so they scanned their brains. And they actually did find some differences. A few specific regions involved in memory and autobiographical thinking appeared structurally different, in some cases larger or more developed than usual. And another detail stood out: a small structure deep in the brain that's also linked to habit and routine, the same region that tends to be unusual in people with obsessive compulsive tendencies. That connection was something researchers kept noticing. Many people with HM also showed OCD like traits. These people had a pull towards collecting things, organizing, sorting, almost as if their minds were built to catalog the world. It's almost as if they turned that same machinery loose on their own memories, filing away every single day, whether they wanted to or not. And this brings us back to the perspective that nobody thinks about. We tend to assume that remembering everything would be a superpower. No more forgotten passwords, no more where did I leave my keys, no more forgetting a friend's birthday. But if you ask the people who actually live this way, a lot of them will tell you the same thing. It's exhausting, and sometimes it's agony. Just think about your worst day, the grief, the heartbreak, the thing you said that you'd give anything to take back. For you, that memory has softened. It faded at the edges. Time did what it does. It sanded the sharpness off so you could carry it and keep walking. Now imagine it never fading. Imagine every humiliation, every loss, every goodbye, staying as raw and vivid as the moment it happened, forever. All those memories on instant replay, the second a word, or a song, or a smell brings it back up. The woman from the very first study described her memory as nonstop and uncontrollable, a running stream that she could never switch off. The gift was also a prison. And that reveals something we almost never appreciate. Forgetting isn't a flaw in your memory, it's one of its most important features. The fading is mercy. It's the thing that lets you heal, let go, and move on. But let's flip the script to a more hopeful and fun side. Because there's another group of people who seem to remember impossible amounts of information. And they weren't born that way, they built it. These are the memory champions. People who can memorize the order of a shuffled deck of cards in under a minute, or hundreds of random numbers, or a list of strangers' names in one sitting. And the real secret? It's almost disappointing. There's no magic. They use an ancient trick called the memory palace, a method from over 2,000 years ago. The idea is simple. Take the thing you want to remember, turn it into a vivid, ridiculous image, and mentally place that image safe in your mind. Our brains are terrible at remembering raw facts, but it's incredible at remembering places and weird pictures. The memory palace just smuggles the boring stuff inside the format your brain actually loves. There was even a journalist who set out to investigate these memory champions, and he ended up training the technique for a year and won the National Memory Championship himself. He wasn't gifted, he just learned the system. So while you'll probably never relive every Tuesday of your life like someone with HSAM, a superpowered memory might be a lot more learnable than you think. But let's remember to be honest about the limits of what we know. HSAM is so rare that scientists are still studying it with only a tiny number of confirmed cases. We don't fully understand what causes it, why it switches on around the teenage years, or why some brains catalog a life so completely while the rest of us let it slip away. What we do know is stranger and more beautiful than the superpower we imagined. A handful of people remember every day of their lives. The good moments stay, but so do the painful ones. And the rest of us, we forget constantly. We lose the ordinary Tuesdays, and we let our worst days soften until we can survive them. For most of our lives, it felt like a weakness, a glitch, something to apologize for. But maybe it isn't a glitch at all. Maybe forgetting is the quiet gift that lets you keep going. And maybe being able to let things go is its own kind of superpower. And don't forget to subscribe.